Growing your business. You know, this is the goal of basically every business owner that we meet with. And yet it's certainly a goal that is easier said than done. Because let's face it, as a business owner, it's not like you can just throw a ton of money at marketing and advertising and sales in the hopes that it grows your business. I understand this as a business owner because we can't do it either. And this is what led me to create the Science of Advocacy program. The Science of Advocacy program is all about helping you create raving fans of your business, getting more customers, and then increasing the lifetime value of those customers. So to get us started though, let's talk a little bit about what we mean about this whole advocacy program. What is it? And first off, I think the easiest thing is to define the terms. We break it down into really three categories. You have a buyer. A buyer is somebody who just obviously buys a product from you. I like to compare this to being like the eBay sort of thing. You know, you need something, you find a missing NASCAR plate in your collection, and you go to eBay, you buy the product, they send it to you, and the relationship is over. In fact, you'd really say there is no relationship between the buyer and the seller. And you can grow a business by having more buyers, but it's difficult. The next phase is to have somebody that we would call a client. Clients are people that repeat business with us. They use our products and services on a regular basis. But at RightMind, we like to say clients are great, but advocates are a whole lot better. So let's talk about them. An advocate is somebody who's out there who is actively promoting and talking about your brand. We like to say that they are raving and referring fans of your business. Now, you may be thinking right now, oh, okay, so you guys are talking about a client referral program. Well, you know what? We tried those and they didn't work. And you know what? That's a fair statement. But no, this is not a client referral program. It's so much more than that. What we've done is collected information from psychologists, biologists, and even a zoologist to map out human relationships and how these apply to business in order to create this Science of Advocacy program. So why should you care so much about this idea of advocacy? I'm going to write a number up here for you. 81%. There was a study done by Boston Consulting Group that said a focus on advocacy is 81% more effective for growing top-line revenue growth than any other strategy for promotion. 81%. That's a pretty big number. It's a number worth taking note to because we do so many things to try to grow our business, but there's one thing that's that much more effective than all the other items. And that's, again, the Science of Advocacy. But let me throw out a couple of other numbers for you. 27, 25, and 30. What do we mean by those? Well, 27% is actually from the same study from Boston Consulting Group that said that businesses that focus on advocacy have 27%, on average, 27% higher top-line revenue growth in their business. Now, 27%, I'm going to say that anybody watching this video, any business owner, is going to look at that as a pretty good result. We would be happy with 27% business growth. The next number, 25, comes from Harvard Business Review. Harvard Business Review stated that a 5% increase in your retention could lead to profits as high as 25%. Actually, in fact, in that exact same study, it said that your profits with a 5% increase in retention could be as high as 95% increase. Why do we bring up retention? Well, chances are if somebody's an advocate of your business, they stick around, right? We don't typically refer our friends to a business that we no longer do business with. Advocates have a tendency to retain and stay around. And then the last number is 30%. And this was a study that showed that client referrals are 30% more likely to close than any other type of referral. So these numbers alone really dictate why it is so important to have a strategy for advocacy. But I'm going to go ahead and make a shocking statement here right now. And what I'm going to tell you is this: just because you have the best product on the market, and because you know that people really, really need your product, that doesn't mean that they know that they need your product. And in fact, even if they do know that, it doesn't mean that they want to buy it from you. At least not yet. Why do we say such a statement, right? Because that statement's a little harsh. When I first heard it, it kind of made me think a little bit, right? Why do we say that? Well, because there's basic human interaction at play here. people have to trust before they're willing to buy. If you break the brain down into three main components, we see why that is the case. We like to call it, this is the way that your brain is the decision brain. The first part of it is your root brain. Now, your root brain is interesting because it's controlling your survival and your safety. And so your root brain first in any decision says, is this going to help or is this going to harm me? Now, if it passes that test, the next thing that gets involved is your limbic system. Now, your limbic system is where you control emotions and memories and all these types of things. And it's a lot of the heart of decision making happens in this portion of your brain. But we have to elicit an emotional response. And sometimes this is something we forget in marketing and sales, right? We get so focused on our product features and benefits that we forget to understand how it might impact somebody emotionally. Now, the last part that kicks in, is our neocortex. Always fun to do this on camera. So neocortex is the last portion of the brain, which is that rational decision-making part of your brain, and this is where we justify our decisions. You can think of it this way, like our root brain first says, yeah, I think this probably could be helpful. Our limbic system says, oh yeah, I really like this. But our neocortex says, hang on a minute, does it make sense? This is where value comes into play. This is where your pricing has to make sense. The offerings have to make sense. But the reality is all of these pieces have to be in play for somebody to make a decision and then ultimately to become an advocate for our business. Amy Cuddy put it a little bit differently when she did some research out of Harvard, where she said that our brain has a trust assessment that first says, what is this person's intentions towards me, kind of here, and then what is their ability to deliver on those intentions. We can say people or we can say companies when it comes to that. So what we figured out, though, is that there is a process by which people become advocates of your business, and it starts at the very moment that they meet you. We use something that we call the buyer journey, and we'd be happy to show that to you. In fact, we'll put it up here on the screen for a second just so you can see it. And what it is a step-by-step approach to turning a person from a perfect stranger into an advocate of your business. Now, if you skip a step or you try to reorder these steps, you can ultimately end in failure. And we know this because think about your interactions with, say, LinkedIn. Somebody sends you a request to connect with you, you accept it, and 10 seconds later you get a sales pitch from that person, right? That's not normal human interaction. And when we do that type of thing, that's where we bypass some of this brain decision making, and then people ask us for a discount, or they don't make a decision at all, or they go with our competitor because we didn't follow the process by which we created an advocate and somebody who wanted to do business with us. So what we offer is we have something called the Right Assessment, where we go through and walk your team through the entire buyer journey. We do a step-by-step analysis of your sales, marketing, and even customer service plans to see where you stand right now with your current processes in place. We do an analysis of this, and at the end of it, you're going to walk away with knowing which places are working very well for you, and then potentially some areas of opportunity. If you're interested in carrying out that assessment, please click on the link below, and it'll take you to a scheduling platform so we can see if you might be qualified to be able to go through this process. So thanks so much for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.